You can't stay the same. Nothing's the same. You take two things and you think they look the same, but they're not the same. You take a microscope, look closely. The two things aren't the same. One's bigger, one's smaller. One weighs more, one weighs less. You can't stay the same. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. Every day, every minute, every hour. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. So we've got this word thrive. I looked up the definition. Thrive means to grow, to radiate, to shine, to flourish, to develop. The opposite of thrive is to wither and perish and die. We want to thrive. We want to get better and stronger and healthier and faster and healthier. We want to sleep better. We want to lose weight. We want to climb a mountain, take a hike. Where does that all start? Does it start in your arms? Does it start in your legs? Does it start when you say it, I want to climb a mountain? Does it start when you write it out as an affirmation? You write it out and it's one of your goals? You know, it starts in your brain. It starts as an idea, a hunch, a feeling, an idea. Before anything can happen, or be built, or be made, or eaten, or pushed, or pulled, or baked, or planned, everything starts in your head. It begins as an idea. Think about that. And now I'm in your head. So what's in your head right now? I see patients every day, and either they tell me what's in their head, or you can read between the lines. And you hear what they're saying in their heads. I'm too fat. I'm so tired. I don't understand. I can't stop drinking Cokes and sweet tea. I'm going to go pick up some burgers and fries. I'll start my diet tomorrow. I wish I'd go to the gym, but I probably know that I won't. I never can stay on a diet. I can't eat that way. I can't, I won't, I never can. All of this brain chatter doesn't matter. It matters because you become what you most think about. Your most dominant thought becomes your reality. And yet we allow ourselves to brainwash ourselves. This whole thing is based on a science called neurolinguistics. I know people in here who will know all about that. And some of the most successful people in the world get it. That when you plant a seed in your brain of the idea that you want to happen, it's far more likely to happen than if you keep thinking about what you don't want to happen. It's an attitude. It's a philosophy. It's our reality. It's what we decide our perception of people's words and our world and of people around us. Your attitude, your philosophy becomes your reality. And it's the only thing you really, really have control over. This is the only thing you have control over. What you're thinking and then eventually what you're doing. But we try to control everything else. We look outside of ourselves, we look at the world and the government and our boss and our partners, and we decide that the problems are all out there. Blame the world. Blame all these things you don't have control over. Or you can choose to change the things that you have control over. We look at the things that are wrong with us, with our bodies and our health and our aches and our pains, and they're all right here. All your problems are right here, and so then we look for tools and medications and supplements and gimmicks and interventions, and we try to fix these things right here where they are, right down here where we see them. It's like being down at the riverbank, okay? And you reach in and you get a handful of water and you taste that water, and it tastes like crap. I mean, it really tastes like crap. And so you hire a whole engineering team, and you build a water filtration plant, and you put up a dam, and you get a whole huge purification center, and you spend millions of dollars to fix that water so it doesn't taste like crap. When all you really had to do was go upstream and get the people to stop dumping crap in the water. It's like what we do in medicine. Here's a common visitor to my office. We have a 49-year-old woman. She can't sleep, she's overweight, depressed, has anxiety, foggy thinking, she's fatigued, she has restless leg syndrome, acid reflux, indigestion, irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea, constipation, blood pressure is going up, her bone density is going down, and so she goes to 6 different specialists to get treated for these problems. All these problems right here. she gets great medical care. She gets Ambien and Metformin and Prozac and Xanax and Adderall and Requip and Prevacid and Zagrid and Lisinopril and Fosamax. All better. FDA approved, effective, double-blind controlled studies proving that these medications will fix these problems. They do. But what if instead we went upstream? Get her to stop dumping crap into her stream. She doesn't eat right, or sleep right, or manage her stress right. She didn't raise her vitamin D levels. She doesn't exercise her body. She doesn't think the right thoughts of the outcomes she wants to have. She fails to address her hormone deficiency, her lack of fiber, her thyroid problems, all the things that would help reduce the chances of ever getting these problems, all these downstream problems that she's having right here. We need to look at root causes, the health destroyers that represent really our choices. It's been estimated that more than 60% of all of our medical problems are traced back to lifestyle factors. Nobody wants to hear this. It's your habits. It's what you're doing. But these habits are cultivated and nurtured and reinforced by our culture, our families, how we grew up in our childhoods. It's reinforced by movies and TVs. And these choices that we've been trained to make now, you don't even think you're making a choice. It's just automatic. You're not even aware of it. And even worse, you're not even aware that there's other choices that you can make. There's other ways to take care of yourself. What about making some basic, effective changes in the way you sleep, exercise, shop, cook, and eat? It's radical. It's different. But change will cause change. It's disruptive, it's jarring, but if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. And everything starts with an idea. Small changes. I talk about making small changes applied consistently, repetitively, over time, and it adds up to huge rewards. For all the financial people in here, that's compound interest. That's compound growth. It's exponential. It's ridiculous. But you don't get it after 3 days, or 3 weeks, or even 3 months. It's doing it over and over. These tiny things add up, add up, add up. And maybe after 9 months, after a year, you start to see some things. For example, we have about 3 meals a day, and maybe 2 snacks. That's about 35 eating opportunities a week. That's 150 eating opportunities a month. 1,800 opportunities a year. Can you imagine making a small change in each and every one of those opportunities, how that would add up? What if it was just 10 grams less sugar, or 10 less empty calories? Times 1,800, that would be 18,000 of whatever we're talking about. And that's a really minuscule change. It's just doing that consistently over and over again and learning what that it is going to be. And I think that's where a lot of people fail. Let's talk about the common choice of how you sleep. And not just the amount of sleep, but the quality of sleep. It's a choice. Are you choosing, or are you just letting things happen? If you plan and you work out the logistics and you make out some decisions, you could potentially get 30 or 45 minutes of extra sleep. Now, nobody wants to do that because there's consequences to making that change. You could get to bed earlier and do the things that help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep and get into that deep battery recharging sleep that most of us don't get. We should be getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Excellent, refreshing sleep. The statistics show that we're not. 15% of all of us get less than 6 hours on average. 39% get less than 7 hours, and 69% get less than 8 hours of sleep every night. And it's lower quality sleep, it's interrupted sleep. We have either you're snoring or your partner is snoring. There's issues with sleep apnea, and don't even get me started about how life-saving these sleep studies, when they identify that you have this sleep apnea and you get one of these little appliances, it's life-changing. People lose weight, they wake up the next day, they don't have to take their wake you up medicine during the day. So 69% of us are short 30 hours or more of sleep every month. That's 30 hours of missing out on what happens when you sleep. Tissue growth and repair, neurotransmitter rebalancing, skin and hair and nail growth, stress reduction, lower cortisol levels, adrenal glands will restore, weight loss. Yes, if you sleep better, you lose weight. And there's more. A small adjustment will go a long way, and it's a choice to do whatever it takes. 15 more minutes a night is 91 hours of extra sleep a year. Just 15 minutes a night. Again, let's go back a couple steps. Ask yourself this: what's running our bodies? How are cells and muscles and our flesh and bones actually made? How are they repaired? How are enzymes created? What produces the energy that we run on? Everybody asks me, what produces the energy I run on? But we are what we eat. We are what we take. The medications, the supplements, and then all the bad stuff, the trace poisons that are pesticides and things that are allowed in trace amounts. Imagine the compounding effect of all of that stuff and those plastic water bottles that we leave in the car to get hot. Food is fuel. Food is the only raw ingredient. It's what we're made of. We're not made up of water and sunshine and air. So put Doritos and grape soda and Little Debbie's into every cell and organ of your body. Imagine the quality human you're going to build out of that. Many of you probably don't realize that when we're in surgery and we're handling the flesh of people, when we're in there cutting and removing things, and I'm not talking about cancerous, I'm talking about generally healthy people, and we sometimes have a patient where the tissues in our hands feel like mush. They can't hold a suture, they bleed and ooze, they fall apart in our fingers, and we say, this lady's got triple P. Piss poor protoplasm. Somebody's nodding because I know over there. Surgical nurse? Am I right? So I think you are what you eat, and food is not only fuel and building blocks, but food is also information. It actually turns on genes and turns off genes. It creates growth and building. Jennifer's going to explain how some foods can help you and some foods can hurt you. And can you see now why what you choose is causing you to get better or worse? Every minute, every hour, every day, every month, every year. To thrive or to perish. Getting better or getting worse. Take out the microscope, take a look. So we need to be making better choices. Don't leave things on autopilot. Don't leave this all to chance. Live by choice, not by chance. Is this news to you? Am I planting an uncomfortable little pebble in your shoe? I hope I'm planting a seed in your idea, in your mind, an idea. And that would be good. Your life is in the balance. And we can work on it from these upstream choices and change the causes. Or you can wait until it's bad enough, until you're sick enough, until your symptoms now become a condition, and the condition gets a name, and the named condition has an effective, proven medication and treatment to fix it. And we have Band-Aids for this and that and the other thing, but when you can't sleep, it's probably not because of an Ambien deficiency. Choose to thrive. Plan your own personalized action plan. You need to develop one new habit for every bad habit that you're going to drop. Change the things that you have complete influence over. Let's name a few. This is a sampling from my soon-to-be-released Well 12 Pillars for Creating Vibrant Health. You can control and improve how you eat, how you breathe, how you drink, how you think, how you choose to balance your hormones, if that's the issue, how you sleep, how you move and exercise, exercising efficiently, effectively, with minimizing injury, how to use supplements intelligently, how are you going to expand your health and wellness database, what you know. You need to nurture your relationships with friends and family and lovers. Maintain a healthy sex life. Work collaboratively with your healthcare partner. Become your own wellness coordinator. I think everybody should create a notebook, get copies of your labs, write down your medical history, track and log the things that you can measure. Your weight, your percentage body fat, your muscle mass, your waist size, your cholesterol, your blood pressure, how much water you drank in a day, how many clean meals you accomplished in a week, how many hours you're sleeping. You know, whatever you measure improves. My medical assistant there can tell you, Ms. Shaitan and Tracy, say hi. One day I decided just to track how efficient I was at getting my charts done by the end of the day. And I didn't really do anything different, but just the mere fact of making my little checklist, I got it done better than I ever have before. It's just a matter of taking something that's automatic and in the subconscious and bringing it right here in your face, being accountable. I don't know if you've ever done a time flow study at work. Just doing it starts to change how everybody behaves and acts. So you need to decide what it is that you want. What do you want from this life, from your body, from your relationships with your family and friends and colleagues? All of us are these amazing bundles of protoplasm, hopefully not piss poor. We're made up of genes and molecules and blood and hormones, and then there's this energy that holds it all together. It's really some kind of amazing cosmic energy, and I think some people understand it better than others. I know it's a little bit woo-woo, but there's something that holds it all together, and that's amazing. So we get this body and we get this life and we get some time to do something with it. But nature's blueprint is pretty cruel. We're programmed to grow up, become reproductive, make little copies of ourselves, raise them, launch them, so they can go off and reproduce themselves, and then we're supposed to go away and die. Wither, perish, die. We're supposed to get out of their way so they can consume and create and build and keep the gears of this big terrarium spinning around. But we're still here. We're living an extra 30 to 50 years more than people did just 100 to 200 years ago. And this is some pretty recent news. As older, active individuals, we really hold the power in this world. We have the money, we have the influence, we run the businesses, we run the government. It's really this generation, take from 40 and up, that's really running things. So what are you going to do with this gift? How are you treating this one and only body that you're living inside of? What advice that we're talking about today are you going to follow to take care of your body? Well, you hear advice, you hear recommendations from your trusted doctor. You love her, you've been seeing her for years. She tells you how to sleep, how to exercise, how much water to drink, how to relax, what to supplement to take, whether or not you should take hormones. And you'll hear advice from your very highly respected doctor who you love and trust for years. And then maybe you go and see somebody else because you wonder, maybe there's some other ideas. And you meet some new doctor or alternative medical practitioner. And they come up with all these great ideas. And it makes sense, and they explain the why, and it all makes perfect sense to you. But it's the opposite of what your first doctor said. And you end up being the judge and jury for all of these choices that you're going to make. And I try to look into my patients' brains to I wonder sometimes what they're thinking when I'm saying this stuff to them. They're either thinking, gosh, my old doctor is really not with it. Or they're thinking, this guy in front of me is way out there. But it's your choice to either become oblivious and numb and just go with the flow, go with the masses, do what everybody seems to be doing. I mean, you figure if the majority of people are doing something, it must be right. You can go with the popular vote. Don't be a zebra. Go with the horses. Go for it. The statistics, however, will prove you to be wrong. It's clear. Go with the popular wisdom. Go with the crowd, and you'll become overweight. You'll develop diabetes, joint problems, bad LDL, inflammation, achy joints, heart disease, cancer. You'll become increasingly miserable, and then you'll be on 5 or more medications, and you're going to live a long, long time. Miserable. We don't let people die these days. A long, miserable decline. Our life expectancy is spiraling out of control. As a gynecologist, I help hundreds of women every month make choices. And they're navigating usually through this whole menopausal decision. I was debating whether or not I wanted those patients to raise their hands. I guess for HIPAA, don't raise your hand if you don't want to. How many in this room have we worked on navigating through those issues? More than a dozen here. Yet we struggle with this idea that our gonads die before we do. They lose the ability to maintain optimal hormone levels for us to operate and function at an optimal level. And this happens universally in women, but it also happens to many men, usually a little bit later in life, but it's becoming more and more important. I call it the menopause. They call it andropause. But hormones rushed in for you at puberty, and they made girls into women so that you can enjoy a rich life with vitality and health. And then the hormones fade away, sometimes abruptly when you have surgery, and those hormones helped you thrive. Historically, we didn't live long enough to even worry about all of this stuff from age 45 or 50 and beyond. We live 30 to 50 years beyond that original blueprint. Any other hormone deficiency, we treat it without even questioning it. If you don't make enough thyroid, you take thyroid hormone. You don't ask your doctor, so when am I going to come off of this? The doctor would say, as soon as you start making it again, I guess. The type 1 diabetic who unfortunately doesn't make insulin, they take insulin, shots, pumps, whatever. They're not able to come off of it. They're not going to make it again. And so it's just interesting that we're struggling with this idea of that you've enjoyed your hormones for 40 years and now they're gone, and you somehow want to go natural. Natural, you normally wouldn't even be around. So if you're lucky enough to feel well and be well, that's great. But I think you're shortchanging yourself if you just go with the herd mentality and with all the information and the bits and pieces and the sound bites and these facts and statistics that you hear that really don't apply to every single person. And some of the information you get are from sources that have ulterior motives. For 30 years we've been reassured that hormones were really good for us. They were the fountain of youth. And then the one big study came around. It's a 10-year anniversary of that study, and it scared the hell out of everyone. The press releases said all sorts of dangers and risks, what turned out to be a barely statistical significant effect. And it absolutely did not reflect or have anything to do with the typical woman who's making the hormone decision. Millions of women suddenly stopped taking their hormones in the wake of that WHI study. And it's estimated that of those millions of women who stopped it, about 25,000 women died unnecessarily because they missed out on the benefits. In that study, if you, instead of looking at the entire group that went from age 50 to 72, we had women starting hormones with no symptoms in their late 60s just to be part of the study. They were looking to see if they could fix heart disease. But when you look in that study, beyond that original press release, the women between 50 and 60 who started hormones and used them for the first 10 years of their menopause, a 40% reduction in all causes of death. You didn't hear that in the news. We've had 50 additional reports on that one study, yet all anybody's ever heard was that first original soundbite. And we're talking about the horse estrogens taken by mouth with synthetic progestins. That's the worst of the worst. We can do better. When we reduce the risks even further by using estrogen through the skin, plant-derived human-identical estrogen, and human-identical forms of progesterone, it turned out the progesterone was really the most evil player. We can do better. And then we review each individual woman's personal profile. We figure out each person's risk and benefit ratio. We save her marriage, her sanity, her self-confidence, her sexual functioning, her comfort, her enjoyment of life. Now she can think straight and not plunge into the inevitable decline of health that kicks off at around age 50. There's so many gurus out there who have such strong feelings that you must do it one way or another way, that everyone has to do it like this or like that. Always do this, never do that. We had a patient call the office the other day. She would not get off the phone until we answered her question the way she wanted to ask it, and it was a yes or no question. Does Dr. Rabin prescribe 100% of the time the sublingual bioidentical hormones to all of his patients? Well, of course not. I do bioidenticals most of the time. We do sublinguals some of the time. My staff told her that. We do all sorts of bioidentical therapy, and everybody's different. She's invited to come in. We can talk about it, see what her specific situation is. Nope. She said, I read a book, and it said that I am supposed to ask this question, and if you say no, then you're not the right doctor. I said, I guess not. And I feel sorry for someone who's looking for a cookie-cutter approach, even when you're talking about alternative strategies. It's your individual profile, it's your genetics, it's your environmental factors, it's your history of medical problems, how you've responded and reacted to other therapies in the past. And your profile is even further defined by your family history, your set of risk factors, your personal tolerance or your philosophy of what you want to take, your personal feelings of what you're going to do or not. We can make all sorts of recommendations. People go home and they do what they eventually feel like they want to do. So I asked straight up front, I said, are you comfortable with this plan? Is this something you're going to do? Because if it's not, let's find something you're going to do. Don't just give me the, yeah, that sounds great, doc. And sometimes we have so many choices that it's overwhelming, and then we end up not even choosing anything. Big mistake. So here's my basics. Start with small baby steps. Improve your health knowledge database. Get familiar with the new science. Question your long-standing assumptions. Identify your personal challenges. What are your 3 most destructive health habits? And then let us help you choose 3 new ones to replace them. What can you do, for instance, I love the number 12, what can you do in the next 12 seconds? Pam stole my thunder. I was going to tell you to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Fill it up in your belly first, then in your lungs. Hold it for a minute and let it out slowly. You just became aware of something that we never think about during the day, unless you do yoga or work with Pam. Breathing. You can suddenly take something that's automatic and put it in the front of your brain. What can you do in the next 12 minutes? You can make a decision, you can write it down, you can plan to get a new book, you can plan to visit the website, you can listen to an audio. It starts with an idea. What can you do in the next 12 days? You can start practicing good sleep hygiene. You can stop drinking all sugar-filled drinks. You can make time to move and exercise. You can drink pure filtered water. You can start reading a health book. You can subscribe to some health podcasts. You can learn how to subscribe to a health podcast and how to actually take it with you on the go. A lot of people don't know how incredible. I just discovered podcasts 6 months ago. I feel so behind the times. I'm addicted. You can book some training with a fitness coach. What can you do in the next 12 weeks? You can sign up for the Thrive One-Day retreat. You can sign up for our first 3-day destination retreat. You can begin more new habits. You can drop more bad habits. You can move right, shop right, eat right, cook right, sleep right, breathe right, manage your stress, read and learn more. You can partner with a great primary care physician, or you can work on getting some other healthcare providers on your team, a nutrition coach, a life coach, a personal trainer. The next 12 months and the next 12 years, you plan for it. To embrace new choices, you need a few things. You need to know what are your best options. Understand why they work. I think one of the best things, in my opinion, that I get from my patients, or what I give to my patients, is the explanation. I think if you throw prescriptions at people and don't explain why they work, why they help, and why they should be taking it, I think you get about a 30% compliance rate. I think it goes up dramatically when you understand the why. And you need a specific action plan. What are the steps you're going to take, and what does it look like if you're doing it right? What are you going to measure? People who take an active role in their lives, in their health care, they experience better health and wellness. The Thrive retreats, I believe, are about getting educated in a practical, experiential way. Don't just let things happen. Make choices. Don't let things be on autopilot. These things are too important. And when you do put these things in the front of your brain instead of on autopilot, this growing older stuff, hopefully it will be a change for the better. When you get into that moment between stimulus and response, you just don't react to things. You actually make a choice about what's going to happen. Well, with that, I thank you for your positive energy and your support, and I hope you will support this collaborative project here. And as I close, I implore, I beg, I hope for you to choose to thrive. Thank you.